Welcome, everybody, to the first FABx Fuck It Bucket. If you don't know who I am, whoop, whoop, yes! If you don't know who I am, my name is Colleen Schell, the curator and founder of FABx, the Fabulous and Extraordinary Stories of Life. It is a speaker training that I put on, and at the end of it, you get to be on stage in the lounge and be witnessed by 30 amazing people sharing your personal story, lighting up the world with your heart, and letting go of things that need to let go so that something else might be possible. This is a side event from that bigger event. This is the Fuck It Bucket. I realize that my dress is very plunging, so if you do see a nipple, you're welcome. Fuck it. The Fuck It Bucket is based on the Fuck It Bucket philosophy. Fuck It Bucket philosophy is a heart-open, carefree, allow it all to be kind of attitude. It's a way where you throw caution to the wind and really step into an area of life that makes you feel textured, makes you feel tender, makes you feel like, I don't know if I can do this. And if you step into the Fuck It Bucket philosophy and actually apply it to your life, what do you think happens? Transform, magic, what else? Adventures. Inspiring, great. Expiring. Perspiring, yes. That is true, Persia, thank you. Just recreated me. So great, yes, so what happens when you step into the Fuck It Bucket type of life is that you feel more alive, more joy. You feel more connected. You feel like maybe that small voice inside your head that says you don't matter is totally wrong. And because of that, you step into your greatest self. The person that you've always wanted to be, impacting and being out in the world, the person that you long to be and what is possible by you being in this unique body, in this unique time, and this unique planet. So you're going to witness tonight are two specific speakers. 5 of the speakers are FABx alumni. They are in my mentorship program. They will be speaking for 10 minutes, sharing a story with you, maybe doing some stand-up comedy, also expressing their generosity and their self-expression in the world. Then the other 5 people have 5 minutes. They are the ones who did the Fuck It Bucket. I did not train them. I did not really guide them. They just said, I'm going to do this because I think it matters. I'm going to expand myself, put my butt on the line, and really go for it because on the other side of grabbing this microphone, I get to be somebody else. Okay, so how it's going to go is the people that just said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my alumni, and the other people are just going to be in the Fuck It Bucket. So we don't know the run of the show, and we're just going to see what happens. So I just ask for your grace and your generosity as I muddle through the first time doing this. Woo! Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the Fuck It Bucket. So Pedro, take your number away because I forgot you were in the Fuck It Bucket. Okay, so we're going to choose the first Fuck It Bucket person. Lisa. The amazing and beautiful Lisa also kicked off FABx 4. So it is a fantastic chance to have you kick it off again, honey. I'm so honored to have you back on my stage. So question for you, would you like this microphone stand or would you just like to hold the microphone?
I think I want to.
Okay, great. At any time you can take the stand away. And then I'm supposed to be timing you, so give me a second. Now, you know how to use the mic yet?
I had no idea.
Okay, so just say hello, everybody.
Hi. Can you hear me?
So for everyone, a little bit of mic training. You just want to make sure that your lips are really close to the mic so that everyone can hear you, okay? You have 5 minutes to impress us.
Okay.
No pressure.
Great. Okay, I'm 26 years old, and I'm the new host of a small Swedish TV show. TV show. Like I'm still waking up every morning feeling like, what on earth happened? I'm the chosen one, and I'm just beginning to feel comfortable with the whole thing, like talking straight to the camera as it was my best friend. And the last couple of weeks, I even got some really good reviews. For example, they say I have it. It feels so good. And this day, a man walks into the office. I've never seen him before, but he presents himself as the producer of the Nobel Prize live event. He sits down and he starts explaining that it's a 4-hour-long live event. I know that. And that all of Sweden will be watching. Yeah, I know. And then he asks me if I want to be that year's TV host. Like, honestly, I almost start laughing because I get flattered, like really flattered, but I'm totally new. I've been working on television for 2 months, and this is a 4-hour-long live event. I'm from a tiny TV show, so no, I'm not ready, not yet. But then I see my producer and the reporters of my tiny TV show, they're going nuts. Because they know that if I say yes, I will be in all the magazines, all the newspapers, and I will spread light to this tiny TV show. So I say yes, to make them happy. And 2 months later, I'm dressed as a princess. I'm wearing this long blue silky dress, jewels, makeup, and I'm standing in the blue hall. It's the main hall of the Swedish town hall, castle-like building with 22-meter-high ceilings. And any minute now, the Swedish king and queen will walk down the stairs, followed by this year's Nobel Prize winners. Yeah, I'm here to guide this TV audience throughout this 4-hour-long live event. And it's a huge step in my career, and it's supposed to be a moment of celebration. But I can't breathe, and I can't feel my feet. And in the next moment, I experience something I've never experienced before. It's like I contract into this tiny bubble. I leave my body, and I get stuck somewhere high up. And suddenly it's like I'm seeing myself from above, like looking down at myself as this empty shell standing on the floor. And from that moment, it's like I'm struggling to survive the evening. It feels like I'm the captain of Titanic, but I don't know anything about boats. The next day, I wake up to an article in the newspaper. A reporter is writing that watching me, she felt so embarrassed that she needed to hide behind a pillow. And the next day, I'm on the list of the most unpopular people of Sweden. I start looking down when I meet my coworkers in the TV corridors because I can't stand meeting their eyes. But I decide that I will learn from this. I will never, ever not listen to my no again. So, do I listen to my no from that day on? No, I don't. I say yes to having lunch when I want to eat alone. I go to parties when I want to stay home. I stay too long in relationships. And I even continue to say yes to impossible projects like playing a part in a theater play that requires me to travel for 2 hours, not getting paid, but instead needing to pay for the equipment, the rent, and like no upside whatsoever. And doing that for weeks and weeks until I can't stand it one more minute. And then quitting. Absolutely too late. It's total insanity. I'm so afraid of making people disappointed that I end up with people being really disappointed and angry. Yeah. So it feels like I'm walking around with this too tight costume. I can't breathe in my own life. Feels like I'm dying. And exactly that, that feels like I'm dying, that I can't breathe, that I'm hurting myself and others, will be the biggest gift, because it will eventually inspire me to start to say no. I'm still learning this. To say no in order to say yes. To say yes to living my life as I desire. Thank
you. Really beautiful, Lisa. So who relates to Lisa around saying yes when you know you should say no? Who wishes that they would honor their no more? Yeah. So we all relate, my love. The sacred no. If you put sacred in front of anything, it's fabulous. Don't try to squelch my sacred anger. Just being my sacred bitch right now. Dare you? Okay, beautiful. Who was number 2 in the alumni? Great, Alicia. Everyone welcome Alicia. So Alicia, my love, would you like to stand or just to hold the mic? Stand, please. Okay, perfect. And you know how to use the mic, so I'm going to trust you that you're going to stay close to it. So this is a beautiful, amazing treat.
You can do that. And then you can announce me. And I'll come up again.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, let me announce you. So Alicia is a woman who asks for what she wants. She doesn't step over not getting it. This is a special occasion where we get to witness a professional weaving her craft with a new story / bit that she is showing us tonight. What would you call that? What's the first time? It's a new thing happening. Please welcome Alicia.
Give it up for Colleen, everybody. Creating this event. Whew. So, a really big thing happened this morning. I'm still a little traumatized. I decided to get a Brazilian bikini wax for the first time in my entire life. I don't even know who's going to see it yet. I just figured like my pussy has a plan I don't know about. Some witchy interdimensional manifestation plan to call in a man. I don't know, but who here has been waxed? Have you? Anybody, ladies? Gentlemen? This is great. So, I get on the table. It's like 90 degrees in here and I'm sweating, which just apparently makes it harder for the wax to stick to the hair. So she puts a little bit of wax on, and then she starts pouring some talcum powder on to compensate for the sweat, and then she sprinkles some more on. She poured some more on. It starts to look like frosting on a birthday cake. Happy birthday, make a wish, woo! And then suddenly rip, oh my God! Oh God! You okay, miss? Yeah, no, I'm okay. Just keep going, it's okay. Each rip is a universe of pain. She hands me a cold washcloth, which I proceed to just wipe up and down my entire body. I can't keep up with the sweat. And it's like, I haven't given birth, but I wonder if the pain level is close. Either way, it's pain caused by a man. Am I right, ladies? Am I right? While I'm on the table, I start to think about, I realize, I'm not just acting as a woman oppressed under the patriarchy by doing this. I'm also performing the role of privileged woman taking advantage of cheap labor in a third world country. I am acutely aware, in fact, that I am a white woman paying a brown woman to both serve me and torture me for the benefit of, chances are, let's be honest, a white man. And this is morally and culturally awkward on so many levels. It's just like a post-colonial patriarchal clusterfuck. But, so the situation gets hairier, except less hairy. She finishes on the left side, and I'm done. I'm just like, it's too much. I can't go. I'm just going to get up and go. Just leave it. It'll be like a half cheese, half pepperoni pizza, just like, eat whichever kind you like. I don't care. I'm out. But she holds me down, and she keeps ripping. Oh, God. I can't do this anymore. Why am I even doing this? Why am I doing this? Have I simply internalized society's preferences for infantilized, hairless pussies? Let's go back to 1987, October 19th, Black Friday. It's the 80s, right? Okay, we've got stonewashed jeans, we've got skinny neon ties and new wave music, and we've got two infamous tragedies. One, Black Friday, the stock market infamously crashes and millions of people lose their life savings. Two, equally tragic but lesser known, very sad day, Pink Friday. The very first day that a Brazilian wax appeared in a porn film. Yes. Ding dong. Hey, I'm here to fix your plumbing. And in that moment, millions of years of perfectly good, organically grown, down-home, natural pussy went out the window. And now 30 years later, everything's fine. Stock market's at an all-time high. Good for them. Nobody wears stonewashed jeans anymore. Good for them. But hairless yonis still in fashion. It's not fair. What's porn going to do to us next? Besides inflatable boobs, fake orgasms, and the emotional black hole, what's porn going to do after that? After that. Okay, so she's done on the front. She flips me over. She goes to the back. It's at this moment that I discover just how much hair there is on my ass. Rip! Oh, God, no! It's not true. It's not true. And I think about the gender, ratios in Bali, and here in Ubud, there's like 10 gorgeous, long-haired, completely highly evolved, goddesses for every one, just one polyamorous, ultra-spiritual life coach surfer dude. Come on, it's not fair. So maybe I'm feeling some kind of pressure to do some kind of high-level sexual competition to be attractive to men here. Not that I'm waxed by looking at me. But I would know that I am both sexy and smooth and completely compromised in my integrity as a feminist. Which is just a magnificent flavor of anguish. And the aroma up in here, people. It is like a mixture of talcum powder, nervous sweat, tequila, white guilt. I don't know. It's like we could bottle this stuff, Introducing Compromised by Calvin Klein. A magnificent flavor of anguish. So she's almost done, and wow, it's this is what happens next. I realize, oh shit, I'm gonna have to tip her, and I'm not feeling very grateful, but I want to say thank you, So I'm thinking what is the gratuity rate on voluntary torture? Is it 18% or what do we do in here? So 20% on voluntary torture. And so, one last rip, oh God, and I, stumble off the table in a daze, and I'm bowing, thanking her. I was raised to be very deferential and humble. And so she's bowing because she's Balinese, and I'm bowing because I'm codependent. And it's just like a race to see who can bow deeper and lower and further, as we both try to escape this situation. Thank you, thank you, no. And it's a very uncomfortable moment. As a feminist, I don't generally believe that women should cause ourselves physical and financial pain in order to please society's constantly changing preferences on the female body. But as a pragmatist and a romantic, I do specifically believe that I should cause myself physical and financial pain in order to please a particular man. I think it all started with a guy I dated. We were into a relationship about 3 months when we're sitting down over coffee, and he says to me, Alicia, I got to tell you something. I think pubic hair is gross. Your pubic hair specifically is gross. You know how that feels? Not good. Not good. Very shaming. Doesn't feel good. And instead of asking him, who told you to think that? I asked him, how can I be more acceptable to you? And, he said, get that shit waxed. Kindly, but, and then he said, getting waxing is really the only good thing to come out of the patriarchy. And, maybe he's right. I'm looking at this today. I'm like, freaking A, I love this. I like how it looks, but I do have to say, dudes, if you really want us to get wax, I just feel like you should just have to come with us and just hear our cries, look into our eyes and see the pain on our faces, just so you know what you're putting us through just one time, in the same way that, people who want to eat meat should have to just go out and hunt and kill an animal and just stare into its eyes as it dies. Just once. Anyway, please let me know if you are the person my pussy has plans with. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for Colleen!
Really great, Alicia. There's a whole new spin on something that we do so often. So many times I've wanted to climb off that table. I just can't do it. Okay, one more time. Give it up for Alicia Dadner! Woohoo! I feel like I'm learning what it's like to be a comedy host for an MC for a comedy show, which I've never done before. But you're supposed to have clap again and celebrate. Okay, so we're gonna do a fuck it bucket again, and I'm gonna have you pull a name. Just pull one of those pieces of paper out, and actually just look at there because there's a bunch of ribbons in there. It's just fucked up in the fuck it bucket. Blue. Everyone, welcome Blue Merle to the stage. Thank you so much, Blue, for joining.
Thank you. All right. So this morning I was at the Waxinista getting my... yeah. Thank you. Yeah, just willing to be here in the aliveness again tonight. It feels good. And the mystery. I think a little theme showed up today. My father's been on my mind the last couple of weeks. I think it's, Christmas passes, my birthday, and it's coming up to his birthday and to the time that he passed. And so let's start with maybe about 7 years ago. when my mother found that she had a limited amount of time left on this planet, she decided that she wanted to live as long as she possibly could. And it wasn't hard to enroll me in that possibility. So we got busy, and we got her into the juices. We got her into all the support that she could to get some longevity. She got 18 months, and it was an incredible, beautiful gift as a son to be a part of that. A privilege. And when she passed, I was there, and I was singing a song to her. It was a Sinatam Ka song. It was Ma. I won't sing it now because I'm taking singing lessons, but I'm on the early stage of the singing lessons, not the end of it, so I won't sing it. But it's a beautiful song. I had a hand on her heart, and I was stroking her hair, singing the song, Ma, Ma. And there's a few lines in there that say, beautiful my, blissful my. And then she stopped breathing. And it was like just a moment in life you don't get too often, And so it was a privilege. And so fast forward, my father, I get a phone call from a hospital actually, saying I'm in Bali and my father's in New Zealand, and the nurse is telling me that your father's been put on last days of care. And I asked what that is, and it's like, we basically just want him to be comfortable at this moment. He's taken a decline in his health. It was quite unexpected. So I get on a plane, I go to New Zealand, and I show up, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He's in a hospital bed. He looks at me and he says, all right, I've got 2 requests from you. 2. He goes, I want to die, and I want you to let me. And he said, the second thing is, I want a martini. I just sure did. And I came back at 5 o'clock, and we played some Beethoven, I guess it was, It was a YouTube video. He doesn't have a lot of connection to YouTube video at his 82 years of age. And he's watching, I think it's Rachmaninoff, his favorite pianist, play this. He's just like, oh. And we're toasting martini to each other, olives and all, in a hospital room. So it's the start of an 18-day journey, a wind down. His choice. I think I've been hard on this man at times, that he didn't really give me what I thought was really thought I deserved, I should get maybe in my teens. Maybe he was quite absent. But I think of those 18 days, he really showed up and gave me a huge gift. And I'll share that with you in a sec. So he stopped eating and he stopped drinking. And I think effectively he wound down, and I would cuddle him to sleep and stroke his heart. And he'd wake up and say, I'm still here, like this. And I think the biggest gift came when my brother came to visit, because I thought, I know how this goes. I get to be here with my father, and I get to be part of that beautiful miracle again as he leaves the planet. And but my brother came, and he visited for an hour, and he lives 2 hours away. And he said goodbye to him. And this was like 4 or 5 days before my father was probably going to pass, and I was like, what? And I kind of have some judgment towards him about that. And then I dawned, perhaps that's possible for me too. So I decided to leave my father 2 days before he died. And when I did, what I left with was really surprising. Yeah, it was harder to leave a parent that was still alive than it was to just watch them go in front of you. I stood there after having said goodbye, and I left the room, and I realized that I needed to come back and bring all of myself with me. and not collapse around this experience. So I stood behind the bed and I breathed into my body and I closed my eyes without him knowing. I gathered all the ways that I'd shown up for myself those 18 days, that I hadn't left myself and I had really done my best to show up for him. Anyway, I think that's pretty much the end of my story. There's probably more, and if I'd probably spent some time, rehearsing this, I'd have something to finish it off with beautifully, but I feel the privilege of having shared this story with you tonight. And instead of trying to make it go somewhere like I was for a few minutes there, or at least for the last minute, I think I'd rather just leave. With emotion that's alive right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Blue, for that touching and tender and vulnerable share, and being willing to let it be unfinished. Where in our lives are we trying to tie things up so nicely in this nice little present and bow and trying our hardest to make it look good, when maybe it's okay to leave it incomplete and be complete with the incompletion? There's some power in that, yeah. Yeah. So one more time for Blue. Give him a hand. Okay, next to the stage, Janor. Please join me up here. I'm not going to introduce people because I have nothing to do, so just clap for Janor, and then I'm just going to give you the mic. Whoop, whoop!
Just in case I forgot what I need to say. Wow, it's great to be here again. So, May 2020, I started an initiative called Plastic Exchange. And now it's growing to about 200 banjar. And in 6 months' time, and really growing so fast because it's so simple. So our mission is really to empower people to prosper through a barter system by bringing a plastic and we give them rice. And our core value is 3: dignity, prosperity, environment. So I would like to tell you a story. I would like for all of you to meet my friend. It's about 15 minutes east from here. There's a village named Saka that I got to know this old lady that come every time to the plastic exchange. And she never missed the plastic exchange, ever. And she never come empty-handed either. The first time that I met her, I was sitting in a banjar and I saw her on a distance, like walking like this, and then holding a plastic in one hand and then one hand is on her hip and just walk to the banjar. And I sat and I really watching her. We never really spoke, but we kind of know each other. And as she sat on a chair, and she really straightened her back, and then chin lifted a little bit and smiled, waiting for her turn to waiting for the plastic to be weighed. And then I look at her, and then she look at me, and I look at her face, really all of this line in her face, just showing all the wisdom that she go through. And the line at her eyes, really just this I was wonder what kind of life that she has. Like this smile, the really gentle soul, and we never really talk, but we kind of acknowledging each other, which is I thought that was like the most powerful conversation that we ever have. And then she got her turn, and then she really walked into the weighing station, and I was so proud to see her. So she walked really poised. And for me, it was like, wow, this is make me smile, make my heart warm. Yeah. So the person that I told you, she's a real person. She's I don't know how old is she. Yeah, in Bali we don't even really know. I didn't even know how old I am. They said that I'm 45, but I felt like 25. This is not just one incident, like in every plastic exchange that I go to, everybody doing their own thing. Yeah, like in one of the villages, there is millennials dressing like a dress with a rangda. Do you know rangda? That's a queen, the witch queen from the Chalonarang, and then bring a plastic. Yeah, and then this one guy like tie all this plastic, like literally hundreds of plastics, and then just carry it for fun of it, for people to having fun with this. Yeah, and then I saw this 7-year-old boy, and I asked him, like, hey, why do you pick up a plastic? Well, I got 5 kilo. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna give it to my mom, and she will cook rice. So really, this is make my heart really, really warm when I see all of this happening. Yes, we do all of this. We gave about 35 tons of rice. Yes, we collected this about 250 tons of plastics. Yes, we changed the behavior of people by showing how to separate the plastic. Because if you look at this, there's two different kind of garbage, organic and unorganic. When you mix this together, there's no value to it. When you separate it, there is value. So we're really changing the behavior of people from their house. My martial art Aikido teacher told me, if you want to remember a move, do it 100 times. If you want to get it in muscle memory, 1,000 times. If you want to embody it, 10,000 times. I often spoke to people, plastic exchange is edu aksi or edu action. It's an education in action. From throwing to picking. From throwing to picking. So all of those things that I said about plastic exchange, I really would like to introduce my friends. Please put your heart on your heart, a hand on your heart. Her name is Dignity. Thank you.
Beautiful, Janora. Thank you so much. So I just want to acknowledge you for what you've done. And I know that you're coming on to a milestone birthday of 55. And what does it look like to actually create something so powerful at this age and using all the wisdom and knowledge that you have in order to impact these people's lives? You've told me of that woman many times, a woman that was staying in her compound for probably decades, doing nothing. She's in her 80s probably. Had no reason, purpose anymore because her crafts and what she used to do was no longer available to her because everything went to tourism. And all of a sudden, she got to stand up, start contributing back to society, her village, her family. And she kept on showing up. And even though the action she took effort, because you gave her dignity, it had her step effortlessly into that effort. So that's the gift you're giving people. Thank you, sweetheart. Really beautiful. Thank you, Shanor. Okay. Will you grab one of those pieces of paper? Sorry. Yep. Perfect. Can you read the name of my horrible handwriting? Lisa. Lisan. I don't know. How do you pronounce it? Lisan? Lisan. Oh, I'm horrible. Anyway, she's a beautiful, amazing woman. She has a great name. She'll say it. Okay, welcome her to the stage.
Thank you. I went in for the fuck it bucket. And I had one word on my mind of what I wanted to speak about. And it's up until just standing up now that listening to all of you that the talk also kind of came to me. There's a quote that I love. It's not mine. I wish it was. It's from this African-American social activist from the 1960s. Her name was Daisy Bates. And she said, "The world we live in is but the world that lives in us." So I want you to just think about that for a moment, because listening to all of you, it brings me to what I wanted to talk about, which was courage. The world we live in is but the world that lives in us. So what is courage? We look at each other and we make assumptions. So what do you think when you look at me? Norwegian woman standing here in Bali with my beautiful kimono. But what I see when I look in the mirror, I see a young, blonde Norwegian girl sitting all the way in the back of the class with my side ponytail, this sweet little girl, and just praying every single day that the teacher is not going to call me to speak in front of the class, because it terrifies me. And every single time that happens, I get this deep red color in my face and cold sweat covering my whole body, as if that is going to protect me. And I just want to sink down to the earth and disappear. Courage. I grew up and there's a disbelief sitting inside of me. I become a rebellious teenager and the disbelief just spirals. So this blonde young girl, she's not blonde anymore. She's dyeing her hair purple and start hanging out with a bad crowd. My boyfriend, at the age of 13, was the gang leader, dealing drugs, notorious in my hometown. Way beyond my age. So when I go with him to parties, and I'm sitting there as a 13, 14-year-old girl, and all these older guys are sitting around me, and I'm just I just want to be cool. And there's all this drugs on the table, and it's being offered to me. I decline. I actually decline. 2 years later, I'm in Spain with my parents. My best friend came with me. Her and I have an apartment, my parents have another one, and we're prepping ourselves to go to the beach. And I just need to go to the bathroom because my stomach really hurts. And after a while, she starts knocking on the door and she's like, "Are you coming?" Like, "I'm ready, I just want to catch the sun." And I can't move. I'm a kid lying in a fetal position on the bathroom floor in this beautiful apartment in Spain, and I'm bleeding. The blood will not stop. I have no idea what's going on. And I'm realizing that I'm a kid losing a kid. I punched through the whole holiday with my family, go home and go to the doctor, don't tell anybody. Courage. Fast forward a couple of years, and I'm a student in Vancouver, and I'm surrounded by all these people, all my friends, and having a blast, right? But I feel like I'm in a bubble. Like, there's a rubber bubble around me. I can see everybody, but there's like just muffle. It's as if like right now I was in a plastic wrap and all of you were separated from me. So I go to the bathroom, and again, the blood starts running. But this time, it's something I caused. And my friends find me. I don't remember this. The next thing I know, I wake up in the hospital in a foreign country by myself in a hospital bed because I passed out, cutting myself. So when the nurse asked me, like, "Who can we call?" I just say, "Give me my phone so I can call a taxi." And I go home to my apartment by myself. And I realized in that moment, the world I live in is but the world that lives in me. And I can change this. I have the courage and I have that power because my voice matters. So who do you see when you look at me? I'm standing here today in Bali. And what brought me here? Courage. And all of these life stories is what led me here. But also my values. My values is the foundation to everything. So when I said no to the drugs, when I picked myself up, calling the taxi and saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna get through this," without telling anybody, because I have that power and my voice matters. So it's like a tree, right? I'm standing here firmly planted on the soil, and my values is my roots, and I'm the tree. And this is the time for me to blossom. Thank you.
Really beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. So who's ready to blossom with their courage? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I got that. So she just said it was the first time she's ever shared that story. So how honored do you feel? Yeah. Very honored, honey. Thank you. Maybe it's now time to just take a sacred breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Might as well do it a couple more times. It feels so good. In through the nose, Out to the mouth. One more time, into the nose. Out to the mouth. Just one more round of applause for Listen. Okay, I'm going to call Lucy up to the stage. Come on up. I'm going to have to give Lucy a caveat. I'm going to have to give you a caveat, a different rule than everybody else. Oh, it's so good for you, honey. So Lucy has a tendency to speak a lot.
Really?
And I love watching Lucy speak, but we have to be responsible for everybody. So I'm going to, at 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a minute extra, and a warning if you go there. No, not 14. No, my love. 11. Okay, maybe 12. Okay.
And that's perfect. Symbolism.
Would you like the cat
No.
stay?
No, stay.
It stays.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
It does? I will not touch it. But then you will touch it. Okay. And then where we will put it?
We can put it here and send it back to nature.
Seems like the caterpillar is becoming the butterfly. So let's see what will happen. I can start wherever. Beautiful. So it's 2018. It's September, and I'm standing in an ashram in Portugal. And I'm meeting my dear beloved teacher, guru, love of my life, the great empty mirror. And I'm saying to him, I so love it here, and I so love to be in service here. And in the same time, I really, hear this call to leave and to serve in a different way outside of this space. And he gets very angry. He says certain things, and I would be still like, okay, yeah, I hear you. I know what you're saying. I can see where you're pointing. Until the moment when he said, and we have to put the butter between your legs to eat you first to know that you are done. And the only master can tell you when you are done. My whole body, my yoni, my anus, my belly has crunched. And I was just standing there in a shock. And not that like aware. And he said more, and then he just turned the head towards me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I just nodded with the head, "Yeah, I'm okay." While there was people around him knocking with the head like this when he said, I really need, he needs to put the butter between my legs to eat me first. And so he left, I went to sit. And I could feel that pain and that sadness, and at the same time, rebellious energy moving through my body, as that inner child in me was really hurt. And I would still have 2 more weeks fighting for myself. And I just have to now put you a little bit more into the picture. This moment has happened after 6 months where I have been blessed by encounter with the death. And that has came really suddenly. I just left the ashram. I was in complete bliss. And I just came from Bali, from this heavenly realm. So it was even surprise upon me. And I have seen a lot through that and realized and experienced things which normally I would not. And then there was another powerful initiation which came after my life was coming back into my body, and I could see that I might be staying here. And because when I would be already on another side, my parents has came to my consciousness and say, it's not your time. So when I started to function in the world again in the way I could, my business partner has came and said, I don't want to collaborate with you anymore. I just want to do things by myself. And this man has been my dearest friend for 22 years. And we been even in partnership for 5 years. And almost I have married him. And instead of that marriage and having family, I just followed my call to be in service and to birth into this world the company, which we then, I would say, had together. So, in the state where I was still, processing that encounter with the death, on the end, with my really exhausted body, still, repetition of my body getting sick, I said, okay, I will sell you 25%. And because he said, I don't have the money to really pay you what you deserve, I then said, okay, I give you this 25%, and with agreement that I will still stay in the company and continue my mission there and take care of my baby. Little I knew that once I will sign up the paper, which actually was saying that I'm giving, or I'm selling him all the 50%, that within 1 week, he will just, I would say, delete me from everything and from any access to the company. Yet, I was still in that field and grace which I have experienced through the death, knowing that the omnipresence of love is always here. That all-seeing eyes, which someone has painted, I don't know what it is now named, like psychedelic LSD explorer, something like that. So even though it was so painful, really painful, to just realize what is happening and what I'm losing, and the betrayal which was there, I just still felt that tremendous love. And I didn't have any worry, even though I didn't know at all what I will do with my life. But I knew that I have to come back to the ashram because I have promised to him, to my teacher when I was leaving, that I will come back. And I hold that integrity within myself. So I did came back. And when I arrived there, I knew that I'm going to say that goodbye. So that's just a little overview of the bigger picture, leading to this moment. So there was these 2 weeks where I was still fighting for myself, raising the hand in a satsang, saying, so what? So what? What else? I have died. So, what? But then after this 2 weeks, something just sneaked in. And it was the re-traumatization of the wound from the different experiences with the men I would have. Being raped, abused, beaten. And I just would have this month really battling of like, okay, so what I will do now? Like, I don't know even where is up and down. My brain would not function. My left and brain would not be connecting. I could not even count to, 1 to 1. I would not know what is day and light. While I would be observing all of that. And with all that what was just moving through, I anyway packed my stuff, put them into the car, and left. And embark on a great journey through the dark night of the soul, where I would not have neither the map, neither the torch, knowing if I will ever come out. And you have to know, like, I've been in this like healing, therapeutic, self-development field for a while, so I would have lots of toolkits in my pockets. But in that time, what was for me the call was to just hold myself and be with all. And then, a few months later, during the night, I just received the download, and it just came so clear. It was like, this is why you are here, this is why this happened, and this is the misalignment which took place. So finally, it has landed in my field, and I just went through that birthing canal when the cosmic mother has just, from that underground, took me back to the light. Woo! And my next, I'm like, there is so much more to share. So what has been happening after that was fight and winning myself back. And not just my physical roots, which really have to come with me really choosing to be here. Not that my parents would come, in the astral realm saying like, hey, it's not your time. But really to choose again with all of that and not having anything. To choose to be here. And then claim my spiritual birthright back. Yes? Thank you. And there is more. I'm happy to come another time.
We're happy to have you another time. Beautiful, Lucy. Thank you so much. Yeah. As we navigate in and out of life, into the pleasure, into the pain, into the things that are unworkable, back to the things that are workable, how we come back to ourselves and start claiming our own sovereignty and our own worth and our own value is key. And sometimes we get lost, and sometimes we get found. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, it's Fuck Bucket time. Oh, hi, beautiful Carol. She's in Fuck Bucket, so she doesn't get to choose. Jan, will you just choose one of those names right there? Beautiful. Will you say who it is? Who do you think that is? Pedro! Thank you, Pedro, for joining us for Fuck Bucket. Come on up here and take your place on the stage. So excited to hear what you have to share.
Cool. I'm going to use this stand here. check, check. Okay. I was 9. And as I was arriving home from school, out was walking my dad. I knew my parents were having a hard time, but I didn't expect this. I dropped my book bag and I ran to my dad and I grabbed his leg and I said, "Pa, please don't go." I can only describe his face as disappointed, that he was leaving. From that day forward, I became known what's a rebel. I became known as a troublemaker. And to illustrate what I mean by this, it got to the point that one day I took a lead pencil and there was a kid named Emmanuel. He was the guy who always bullied me. And I took this lead pencil and I stabbed him in the arm. And that's when Miss H entered my life. Miss H was a 5-foot-tall Italian woman with a heart the size of the entire planet. She was the first person in my life outside of my parents who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She didn't just say she cared. She demonstrated it. Miss H was my 4th grade teacher. Each day when I arrived at her class, she asked me questions, really simple questions like, "Pedro, how are you? How's home? Have you eaten? Is there anything that you need? Is David or Emmanuel still bullying you?" She even stayed after school to give me the help that I needed. When my parents couldn't pick me up on time, she would bring me back up to her classroom just so I didn't have to spend time with the other kids I didn't get along with. One day, after doing something that I can only categorize as dumb, she said, "Can I talk to you?" Of course, I said. She pulled me aside and said, "Pedro, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but did you realize how special you are?" Fast forward, I graduated from middle school. That's 8th grade. Something that I didn't think I would honestly do. To give you some context, I almost got left back from 2nd grade, and up to that point in my life, I was in summer school every single year. And so naturally, the first person I wanted to tell was Miss H. I knew that she would be insanely proud. And so I had changed schools by then, so my mom and me, after the graduation, we got in a car and we drove from one side of the Bronx to the other side of the Bronx. That's in New York City, the boogie down Bronx, where I grew up. And when I made it to Miss H's classroom, I kid you not, it looked like she saw a ghost. I had grown 2 feet since the last time I saw her, which is about 4 years before. I mean, I was wearing a freaking suit, for God's sake. And after briefly catching up, she said, Pedro, there's something I need to show you. And so what she did next was she took her right arm and put it around my shoulders as she escorted me to the far side of the classroom where her desk was. When we got to her desk, she extends her left arm and she grabs a frame which is facing the opposite direction. And as she's turning it, she makes direct eye contact with me. And it's a photo of me and her. And as she looks me in the eye, she says, Pedro, I always knew you were special. "20 years later, it's the only photo on her desk. Miss H changed my life. Or to put it differently, she inspired my life. She believed in me before I was ready to believe in myself. Miss H, if you ever hear this, yes, I know I'm special. Thank you for helping me see what I couldn't see in myself. And you must know, so are you. So are you. I love you, and I thank you. Thank you.
Really beautiful. I don't know about you, but when hearing that beautiful story of someone who took a stand for somebody else, not because there was any evidence that it was going to go good. They just did it. Did anyone else have a teacher that took a stand for them? Yeah. Yeah. I did. Mrs. Shippey. Mrs. Shippey, she knew my older sister bullied me. She decided to split her class. It was second grade, and she decided the next year she was going to split her class for second grade, third grade, so she could have me back. Mrs. Shippey reached out to me about 2 years ago on Facebook. She told me the impact that I had on her and how special she thought I was. And she told me that story. Of course, I didn't know that that's what she had done. And really using me as an example of what it looks like for her to be a stand for some student. And because of that, I got to acknowledge her and just thank her for what she did for me. And now we celebrate birthdays together on Facebook, and we chit-chat about our lives. And, I was like, I was little. So I'm telling you the stories along with Pedro's stories just to say that maybe there's somebody you could reach out to and just thank them for taking a stand for you. Thank you, Pedro. One more round of applause for Pedro. Okay, beautiful. Now I need one of the alumni. Not who else? Who are the two people alumni I have left? Ling, and who's the other one? Christopher, please take the stage. Everyone welcome Chris to the stage. He hates when I call him Christopher. It makes him think he's in trouble. Come on up here, Christopher.
Thank you. I'm sitting on a mat, staring into a cup of cacao. I'm at another one of these cacao and breathwork ceremonies. I down the cacao. I start breathing. Before you know it, I'm having an out-of-body experience. I have this incredibly divine insight. I got to move to Bali. I come back to now. Wow. Was that a dream? Was that God? Was that my soul? What was that? Bali? I live in Australia. My business is here. That's crazy talk. Bali? I can't just move to Bali and just move my life to to another country. Can I? It gets me thinking. Maybe I can. But I'm terrified. My life's pretty good. It scares the shit out of me. But the more I think about it, the more I feel called. Bali's just calling me. Eventually, I come around to the idea and I have the courage to just step into that unknown, and I book my flight. One way. I don't even know why I'm going there, but it just feels right. I say goodbye to my friends. I sell all my belongings. Everything I own now gets reduced down to 2 suitcases. The next day, my plane touches down at Denpasar. Welcome to Bali, Mr. Jackson. Wow, I made it. Wow. This is amazing. This is like a tropical paradise. I'm so glad I'm here. I don't know why I'm here, but it feels right. 3 months later, I'm at Burning Man, and I'm wearing these amazing Galaxy leggings, wearing these fluffy fluoro leg warmers, and I'm strolling across the playa, walking through a dust storm as the sun's rising, and I'm heading back to camp. And my mates are at camp, and they're smoking DMT. Now, I've had psychedelics before, but that's one thing I've never had before. But that's on my bucket list. I ask, can I have some? My mate goes, yeah, sure. He passes me the vape. And now I'm sitting here on a balcony, looking across at the sunrise. With nervousness and excitement, I take a big puff. Wow. There's animated fractals, the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen. I see this time-lapse video of the history of all of humanity, the Akashic records. I see the history of the universe, every possibility in the quantum field. I see it all. It's all perfect. Nothing's broken. Nothing needs fixing. I'm perfect. I don't need fixing. Wow. I had an idea about what this might be like, but now I feel it. I actually feel what it's like to be connected with Source, Life Force. Wow. I come back to now. Wow. I just realize I've spent my whole life feeling like I needed to be some kind of cosmic hero, trying to save the world. There's nothing to save. It's all good. And I realized, wow, everything is still the same, but everything's different. Ah, the relief. The relief. Ah, beautiful. But hang on. I've spent my life living through my ego. Holy shit. This overwhelming sadness just floods me. I've wasted my entire life. And there's not even any purpose to life. I'm empty. Oh, Chris, what have you done? This psychedelic shit's gotten you in trouble. What if this never leaves me? How am I going to live with this for the rest of my life? The next day I wake up. Everything's the same, but it's different. I realize it's a game. It's my game. And I get to write the rules. And I realize I've just been given the greatest cosmic secret of life. I've got the source code and I'm walking around with a grin like I've got the secret. And how did I not know this earlier? That I am one with life. I'm connected. This changes me. I'm more easygoing. I don't need to fix my clients. I don't need to fix myself. I'm more loving. I'm a better human. I'm a much better human. And this takes me right down the rabbit hole. I start researching awakening, and psychedelics, and I discover that the DMT that I smoked at Burning Man, that's only the soft stuff. I discovered something even more potent. It's called bufo. It's this poison from a frog in South America that contains a chemical called 5-MeO DMT. It's like 20 times stronger. And I don't know what it is, but I feel called. I don't know why, but I just feel called to it. So I'm patient, I wait for it, I don't rush it, I don't force it, but sometime in the next few years it eventually lands and I meet someone, I get introduced to a shaman. We book it in, we make it happen. This time, instead of me sitting on a rooftop watching the sunrise at Burning Man, I'm in a sacred space with candles and crystals and incense. I take a big puff on this beautiful wooden pipe. Oh my God. My reality dissolves. There's no time, there's no space, there's no thought, there's no me. It's just infiniteness. Yes, I knew it. Just pure oneness, God, universe, source, whatever word you want to use for it. The ultimate truth. And I get this insight. I'm not just some guy that's here to help business owners make money. I'm actually here as a bridge. I'm a bridge to take people across from an ordinary world to a more connected world. You might call it a spiritual world. I speak the language of business and spirituality. I can bring the two together. I'm the bridge. Everyone's a bridge. I'm not any better than anyone else. I'm just a bridge in this dimension. Wow. I come back to now. Wow. Everything is the same, but everything's different. I now know how to speak from my soul to your soul. I now know firsthand the deepest truth of what this reality is based on is that I'm not just connected to source and to life. I am life. You're not just connected. You are life. You are source. We all are source. We all are God, universe, source, whatever label you want to use for it. We're all the same. And we are all one. I'm complete.
Beautiful, Christopher. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, DMT or not, if you can just think about the time in your life when that feeling of oneness was so visceral in your body, and sometimes it's so fleeting, and then you try to grasp it so hard, and then it's gone. The thing is that you can never unring the bell. That was the timer. Okay, Fuck It Bucket participant. We have one Fuck It Bucket participant left. Carol, would you like to take the name of the Fuck It Bucket? Let's see, what is the name? Carol! Woo! Come to the stage, my love. Come to the stage, my love. Welcome to Fuck It Bucket.
Thank you. So this is going to be a challenge because I speak with my hands. Ta-da. So, when I got to Ubud, I was in a place of utter desertification, which meant that it was a no man's land. I had not touched a man or had a man in me for at least about 4 years. I was in a really bad place, really emotional breakup, and I came to Ubud to create a business because of this woman. She was running a workshop, and I thought, I'll just go. So I meet Colleen, and I meet Ubud. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where have I landed? I'm French. I'm logical. I believe in the power of mathematics. I am very organized. Everything is put into little boxes. My clothes are organized by sizes, by colors. Shirts, skirts, everything is harmoniously put onto the shelves. And I land into this world of cuddle parties, ecstatic dancing, time travelers, contact dancing with people who are virtually making love to the floor. It's like, excuse me. And then I'm supposed to be setting up a business, and she starts talking about gratitude. I'm like, what? And compassion. And I'm like, what? Words that I have never, ever uttered in my... They're just not part of my vocab. We don't do that in my country, yes? We do perfection. We do attention to detail, yes? We do French is the only way, because we are the best, yes? Everyone knows that. And then I'm learning about these new concepts, and it's rocking my world. And I'm fighting the world of spirituality a little bit, but, it's Colleen, so you kind of have to let go of the fight. And you have to think, okay, fair enough, let's be efficient in my search, yes? So, first of all, I need to connect to the world of spirituality. Second of all, I need to have what every single woman in Ubud is begging for, and it's not love, it's sex. So I'm thinking, okay, let's mix both, yes? Because, I'm a high achiever. So I start my journey of also connecting with nature. So I decide to go on my first adventure and actually enter the world of spirituality by sharing a bed with a yoga teacher, who happens to be wearing baggy pants, baggy shirt, and has long hair. That is not a world I have ever entered in my life. If you want to date with me, you better wear shoes and have ironed your shirt, and your shirt is inside your freaking trousers, yeah? just learn how to show up. I'm French. If I make an effort, I expect you to make the same effort. So I'm there and I'm hanging in my space. I'm thinking, no, Carol, this is your journey, just going. I bring back the gentleman on my Scoopy back to my room. And he's driving, actually. I let him do the man thing. And we undress. And we start, the only thing that I could in English explain, I don't think there is an equivalent in French, as shagging. And I felt that I'm being done like a rabbit, because I am lying and I have this man on top of me, yes, just... and in French we have this thing like shaking like a rabbit because they pullulate like crazy, and I'm on top, and his sweat is pouring over me, and I just look at him and I said, I can't keep up. I'm good, yes, but I'm not that good. And he says this amazing thing, which really gives me another understanding of spirituality. He says, but this is what it means. Just surrender. So I lie down and I let him finish his business. And he then goes and have a shower that lasts about 20 minutes, which of course doesn't, really make you feel really, really well. You're like, really? Was I that dirty? But interesting. So, we say goodbye. And I just then start labeling him the rabbit. And then I meet another guy who does family constellation. I'm like, what the hell is family constellation? And he happens to be Danish. And I had a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend, Danish. And they're nice. Any Danes in the room? Okay. The Danes are nice, but they tend to be slightly boring. However, Colleen knew I really wanted to have sex, so she says, when you have an end result, just focus on the end result. And whatever happens, just be focused. So I listen, yeah? And I'm at dinner, and he speaks about himself and how fantastic he is, and I'm like, okay, Carol, just let it go. You just want to have sex tonight. So, and then he hugs me, and he's a really good hugger. And I'm thinking, yeah, fabulous. So we go back, yes, and I'm sharing a house with Colleen, and my bedroom is a tiny bedroom next to her bedroom, and I know I can't just go because I'm going to wake her up. So we use the day bed in the living room, and I have to say, I don't care how boring he was, but he took me on a trip that I will never, ever forget. Family constellation, Ave Maria, I bless you. I have never done it. I've done someone who does it, yes, and that was amazing because I get that man is full of energy, and I'm a pretty energetic woman. So I get this little, we call them ants in French, little ants coming, like, that wave of warmth that you get, something I've never had before. And it just takes all over my body, and I end up having what I call the Harry Potter effect. I have these balls of energy that are in my hand, yes? And I am on top of him, and I don't know what to do with it. So I start just like throwing it. I'm like, doing my business, and it's magic. It's absolutely unbelievable, and I'm having an amazing time when I see Colleen coming down the stairs. Oh, hello, honey. Are you having a good time? So there we are, and this man had so much hair that I decide to call him the lion. So I have a rabbit, I have a lion. What is left? A horse. I meet this young, amazing, I'm 45. He's Turkish, he has this beautiful black long hair, and he's 21, and it's his birthday. And I am the birthday present. And I did have a look at him and I did remind him of my age. And he said, it doesn't matter. I want to take you home and eat you. And I'm like, honey, I'm coming with you. And the great thing about young men is that they know nothing, so you can teach them everything. Talk about being a teacher. And they do everything that you want. So it's beautiful. So to finish on time, there is another story to tell you about a bear. But I won't go there because we don't have enough time. However, I wanted to tell you all these stories because I think that we as women often tend to undermine the lessons that we get from the men that cross our lives. So since there are very few men in the room, I really wanted to express my gratitude to all of them because this sexual, spiritual journey opened my mind and opened my heart to all the things that I wanted, but also all the things that I didn't want. Thank you.
So great. So great. I didn't know I was going to have a cameo appearance in that story. You can't help but fall in love with that little French nugget, right? So good. And it could also bring you back to a time when you had that spiritual sexual experience. Maybe it was the orgasm that blew off the roof. Maybe it was that 5 hours in the tent in Burning Man with that stranger. You don't even know his name anymore. Maybe it was with the beloved, simply underneath a staircase, stealing a kiss in the middle of a party. Okay, we have one speaker left. Miss Ling, would you please join us on the stage?
First of all, I want to say this is not the story I wanted to share 6 weeks ago when I began the mentorship program with Colleen. But 3 weeks ago, something happened that changed my whole life. And the last 3 weeks, I couldn't think about anything else but this. So I'm sharing with you tonight. So I was lying on bed with the phone in my trembling hand. A chill came up from my spine. I just discovered that I was scammed for $500,000. Half of it is all the money I've ever saved. Half of it are from friends and clients who invested through me. Which means now, besides zero in my bank, I have $200,000 debt. And this man, Yuri, who pretended to love me with all his heart, said he wanted to help me fulfill my dream of buying a house and settle down finally by getting me into this investment. And after he took all my money, he disappeared into the thin air. Strong panic attacks just caught me, and I did something I would never have done. I called a man who was in unrequited love, but it's a man I trust who would never ever abandon me when I need him. I couldn't say anything when he picked up the phone. I just said, please come now. Please come to me right now. I know you are near me. Please come. I need someone now. I'm in a very dangerous state. And he said, Ling, this is your life. It's not my life. I will not come. Forget about it. And he hung up the phone. And not long before this, my website, which is the sole source of income for my business, has just been banned permanently due to censorship in China. I was empowering women in their sexuality and women and awakening. And the Chinese government doesn't like that. So I lost thousands of clients, millions of words of articles I wrote, and all my teaching materials. And that moment, after he hung up the phone, my heart stopped beating. The trauma was so huge that my body just turned into a stone before it collapsed. I spent the whole night trembling uncontrollably. I vomited, crying, amidst waves and waves of panic attacks. And I couldn't stay alone at all for 1 second, so I had to ask my mom to keep a video call with me all night long for 10 hours. The next morning, I woke up and called dozens of police and lawyers in China, in Bali. Most of them shook their heads. It's too complex. And some of them said they can help. But only later I realized they were just trying to get more money out of me. I spiraled down into despair. I don't know who else I can trust in this world. My mom, who is the only one who can help me financially, had to go to the hospital because whenever she thought about this huge debt, her blood pressure went so high. I felt I couldn't do this alone. I wanted to tell the world what happened and ask for help. But many people, especially my team in business, told me, no, you can't. You're a wealth coach, a women empowerment leader. It's damaging for your business and your reputation. You can do it. You're strong. You know, that feeling came back when I was 19 and I had the abortion. It's the same like this moment. I've just had the biggest tragedy happen to me, and I couldn't tell anybody about it. It's been 6 years. I've worked my ass off as a single mom to make money. I was talking about this in my last FABx talk. I was talking how I was making multi-six-figure business and super successful, and now just 1 month after that speech, here I am. I have no money left in my bank. Just when I thought my life finally stabilized and I could say goodbye forever to that humiliating life in poverty as a single mom, my life crashed in front of me. What should I do? Should I tell everybody? Or should I suffer alone? It took me a long time weeks. My friend Whitney, who's sitting here right now, created a GoFundMe page for me, but I was waiting for weeks. I was too afraid to send that. But then one day, a friend came to me and said, Ling, you've been giving so much to charities and people in need. It's time to receive. So I finally pressed that button, sent. I told my story and asked for help publicly. What happened after this totally changed my way of seeing this. First of all, I thought I was the only person who would ever suffer from this. And guess what? I got so many people telling me they went through exactly the same thing. Some of them are working class, single moms. Some of them are high achievers, super wealthy and clever. But none of them dared to admit it because of the fear of judgment and comments like, I heard, you must be so greedy with money. That's why you got into this. Or, you must be so empty inside. That's why you attracted such a man. Yeah, those are few of the comments I heard. And some people will say, oh, you were just sharing on Facebook you're financially free not long ago. Now you're asking the world for money? Yes, I am a wealth and love coach, and I was trying to fill that empty hole in my heart with more money, more success, and a man that I thought who would finally commit to me. Now, with all these comments, I now feel, actually, I'm not a victim of a fraud. I am the fraud. Luckily, I still have some friends who trusted me when I don't trust myself anymore. They saw there's so much more to me than this mistake I made. And a lot of them are here today. Colleen helped me through the whole mentorship progress and make me stand here today to talk about it. Janur, who visited me several times and offered perspectives and gave me a shoulder massage. Susan, who sent the best healer of Bali and took all the trauma out of my body. Faye, who come and stay in my house to keep me company when I was too afraid to be alone, and said to me, if you want to die, I can help you, because I've done it. I know how to do it, because I keep saying I want to die. I really want to kill myself. And believe me, that's the biggest relief I heard from a friend at that moment. I need permission to want to die, because I wasn't even allowed to be a victim. And some friends donated immediately. Some friends offer free coaching, therapy, or business opportunities. One stranger from the other side of the island offered to come to my house and cook for me daily. And Ibu Sari, who was another FABx speaker before, who was a single mom and working for women's rights in Bali, was singing me Balinese lullabies on the phone when I couldn't sleep. I was overwhelmed by the love I received. And one moment, one friend told me, you know, people love you so unconditionally, not because of who you are, not because you were successful or wealthy. That discovery liberated me from my busyness in my business. When the heat of my ego and the sandcastle of illusions, of money, of men, fall to pieces, I finally started to notice all the real blessings around me. I started to notice how the shadow danced on the banana leaves. I left my desk, my working desk, to go out and dance in the rain when my heart still feels heavy. I started to live, truly, in this moment, not in the fear of the future or regret of the past. And one moment, when I was in a Watsu session with my friend who offered it to me, held in her arms, floating freely in the 37 degrees water, like a baby, I suddenly saw all the forests I've crossed. Yes, not all the money I've lost, all the forests I've crossed. Forest in Europe, forest in China, forest in Bali, forest of innocence, forest of greed, forest of darkness, forest of peace. I felt so touched at that moment and so grateful to God that I cried like a baby in that pool, in the yoga barn, my friend's arms. Three weeks before this, I remember when I told my friend Aaron, who was another FABx speaker, about this tragedy. He told me, your next speech is gonna be how I was scammed for $500,000 and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I thought he was cheesy. But now I realized he's right. Tonight is New Year's Eve in China. And the tradition is we'll give each other money as a gift. I have no money to give for the first time in my life. But even though I might be the poorest person here tonight among you in terms of money, I have never felt so rich, so loved, and so empowered to give. I realized this feeling that I thought I will only get after I got all the money, a success, or a man to get married with, is actually within my reach any minute. It's $1 million feeling that even the most skillful scammer can never steal away from me. And it's free. So I realized, as my yoga teacher said, happiness is determined by how well you deal with adversity. And last night, my 6-year-old daughter suddenly said to me, she knew I lost all the money. And she said to me, Mommy, today in school we learned a song. It goes like this. In every life we have some trouble, but if you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Do you know this song? She said, and I said, I thought I have 1 million things to worry about right now. I don't know how to pay my rent for the next month, but fuck it. I'm just gonna go with her, and I sang. Ooh, 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 Don't worry, be happy. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful ending to a beautiful evening. Can I just ask all the speakers to join me on stage one last time, please? Please come on up and join me. Yeah, so when your hero disappears into thin air, seems like it's the last thing you would want to have happen. But maybe it's just showing you that you're stronger than you know, more resilient than you believed, the most amazing, powerful person to look beyond what you thought you needed to be saved from, to really become the woman that you knew you could be. Come on up here, my loves. Come on up, all the speakers. Please just join me on the stage. Give them a round of applause. As everybody knows, well, no, not everybody. If anyone knows me, you know that I end with acknowledgement. Now, we have a lot of us speakers here today, so we can't acknowledge each speaker like I usually like to do. But we can acknowledge them as a group. Even if you want to acknowledge one speaker, just consider acknowledging them as the group, saying the same thing. I have a guess that it'll just fit perfectly. Who would be willing to acknowledge this powerful group of Fuck It Bucket participants? Yes.
Yeah, I really like Blue, how you share wonderfully from that heart space, the experience that you went through, and all of you guys that come from that heart space. Really, so, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for being the first one. Who else would like to acknowledge the speakers as a group? Yes, Persia. Gorgeous, Persia. Thank you, honey. That's really special. Yes, sweetheart.
So thank you for all of the speakers, because like each story is matter. Even that is good or bad, even that is good for your own self or others, always share your story, because from sharing the story that you inspire someone or might make someone realize the another one.
Beautiful. Thank you. Let's take a couple more. Yes.
Thank you so much to all of you. You guys remind me the amazing experience of what being human. And yeah, from the best parts to the down parts, it's just amazing. Just like make my heart big and strengthen everything. Thank you so much.
Beautiful words. Thank you.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person that has go through troubles, and you, like, everybody looks perfect, everything looks fine and harmonious, and you're the only like turmoil inside of you. So it's like good to hear that humans go through things, you know, and it's not only you. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that sharing and acknowledgement. Who else would like to acknowledge the speakers as a group? Yes, believe.
Behind the microphone and to continue
Thank you, Believe. Yes, sweetheart, Whitney.
Thank you all for really taking us on a journey. It really is something special that each one of you shared with us of just how you're able to storytell beyond just telling a story, but really convey the emotion, have it really hit home in so many ways. So I really appreciate you all being able to drop your walls and share it with us. It really hit home for me, and I'm sure it hit home for everyone too.
Thank you, honey. Anyone else have a burning desire to say one last final acknowledgement? Yes, sweetheart.
You all look so different. Like completely. No one looks like the other. And all of you pretty much touch the whole thing of like heart, connection, source, love, courage. And I agree with Persia. Listening to all of you makes me want to leave this shala just being a little bit better than I was when I actually entered this shala. So just thank you, each and every one of you, for just bringing your whole self into this place and inspiring all of us, because, I mean, you all heard it, we know it, when you guys, what you do, when you inspire us, we all get inspired to actually share more, and that's how we actually can just be more of this oneness that you're all talking about. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. I will finish with my little acknowledgement. I won't say much, but I fucking love you. Each and every one of you has an amazing place in my heart that will never be taken away. And I thank you for coming back. If you actually, this is the second time on my stage, I thank you for donning my stage for the first time. It's an honor to be someone who curates this love, light, togetherness, connection. I get to be better because of you. So thank you. Mm-hmm. Woohoo! I also want to acknowledge you, my beautiful witnessers. Ah! I love that. I need a chair. You do need a chair. Thank you, honey. The beautiful witnessers. Without you, we'd look really silly, wouldn't we? So know you had a key role in what transpired tonight, what emerged, what blossomed, the journey that we went on. Your listening of the speakers had them show up more powerful. As I looked back and watched your faces and how you were leaning into the words that were being placed into the space and really eating them up like a nourishing meal, you allowed them to show up better in their greatest self, sharing more authentically, more real, taking more risks. Without you, there is no us. Without us, there is no you. You're just me, cleverly disguised as not me. So thank you everyone. We're gonna call the first Fuck It Bucket of FABx complete. Thank you so much for joining. I love you all, even if I don't know you. Thank you.